Hey everybody, welcome to the final episode of the Bazinga Boys podcast, the only show that reviews every episode of Young Sheldon and The Big Bang Theory, but today we are watching neither, because Young Sheldon's brother Georgie got himself his own spin-off show and the pilot episode did premiere last week. So we are here to review just that, and that alone, and if we think it's true Kino, we'll come back and keep it going, but spoiler alert, this is the last episode. I am Simian Jimmy, joined as always by the only man to be on every single episode of the Bazinga Boys podcast, Purple Colonel.
Yeah, this is what it comes down to. This is how it ends.
Well, I don't know.
Georgie and Mandy.
Last time I ended it, you and Florian went and did like 10 episodes on anti-reviews. So why don't you guys just keep doing it anyway?
That is true. We always could.
And the man who fulfilled the prophecy of #Moonwalker and debated Florian about Joker 2, Hartsy Protsy.
Hello, my yummy yuckers. It's Bazingy Protsy here for the last and final swan song of the Bazinga Boys.
Who won that debate, in case somebody did not watch the purple surplus video that I shared in the feed?
I think I did. Even though I really didn't want to be there.
Yeah, if I recall, you had a flight like 6 hours later and you had to go to sleep. But,
yeah.
You know, just 1 extra hour to debate Florian about Joker.
Yep, great time. Loved it.
And last and certainly least, in terms of seniority here on the Bazinga Boys, it is Eggy Eggman Rodriguez.
Oi, 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 what it do, my fellow homies? Let me tell you one thing, let me get this in real quick. I think I'm going to have to keep on reviewing this series myself, personally, if they keep on having that Emily Osmond, yeah, you know what I'm saying? What?
Yeah, in that scene when she
Discord.
confronts her mother, she was pretty stacked in lots of ways, I'll just say. Is that how the kids say it, Hartsy? She's stacked?
I don't know. I don't talk to people my age.
Yeah.
All my friends are in their mid to late 20s, apparently.
Like, Eggy's one of your best friends. He's like 40 years old.
Yeah, so true.
Hey, you know what? If being on Discord and talking to the people 20 years younger than me is wrong, oh wait, well actually I'm not 40 yet. We're going to readjust that.
Yep. Well, you know what? I watched this the night it debuted, and I hated it mostly because of the laugh track. Like, I'm racist against laugh track comedy shows. But rewatching it this morning for the sake of this podcast, I think perhaps I was a bit too harsh with my initial assessment of Georgie and Mandy's grim adventures here, and maybe it's not that bad, but I still don't want to keep reviewing it.
I think it's really funny that the show opens up with a very on-the-nose reference to the fact that the show does indeed have a laugh track.
And there's a few things to unpack with it, but go ahead.
Because Georgie and the rest of the family are sitting on the couch watching Sitcom, and he's like, man, I don't like comedies that don't have a laugh track. I want to know when to laugh.
Yeah, Georgie's
Stupid.
he's like a stand-in for the average sitcom viewer. Like, he's literally mentally retarded, and he says, Wonder Years, there's no one laughing. Is it funny? We'll never know. So, like, he's saying most television watchers are brain-dead drones that need to be told when something is funny so that they can join in the laughter. And he's right. But do you know what show they are watching? Does anybody know?
No, I do not.
I want to say the caption said Frasier.
You lucky son of a bitch. Eggy, did you know?
Yeah.
Honestly, the fact that Purple Colonel said the caption said Frasier, listen, you know, I'm showing my age right here. If you're not knowing that Frasier Kino,
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell you. Basically, you need to go do some watching.
And I think it's very on the nose and intentional here that they choose one of the prime examples of Kino sitcom and Frasier, like just stellar writing and performances all around. Highly regarded as a prestigious sitcom by most people. Am I right, Eggy? Am I saying this to the Zoomers correctly?
Well, you know, it's I mean, I agree.
Yeah, I think it's highly regarded, and that they're putting it in this show intentionally to say, hey, you know what? We're not defiling ourselves by putting in a laugh track because Frasier had a laugh track, and look, that show was so prestigious and good, and it's just their way of kind of defending themselves for devolving from Young Sheldon.
I don't even know what a Frasier is. Is that the one with the Fonz?
Well, Frasier was also a spin-off show, which is funny, but no, it's not the one with the Fonz. It's this, he's a very posh British dude, and he has like a radio show. Is that right, Aggie?
I don't believe he's, I would say British. I mean, he's just
yeah, he talks funny to my ear.
It's kind of like how they play classical music at gas stations to make people leave and not loiter around. That's like what Frasier's voice does to a certain audience.
Yeah.
But news radio, though, the OG that was Frasier was spun off from. If you look up what's his face, Andy, whatever. That's one gay guy that's a sex pest and like lives out of garbage cans now. He's in that. Joe Rogan is in news radio, I believe, also. Classic Kino. You better go check it out if you haven't seen it.
And Frasier as well.
Joe Rogan's and Frasier? I don't know.
No. Should people check that as Kino as well?
I'm going to say yes. I think in the era that it aired, I think it might have been an award-winning program. It's good. It's definitely better now than I think. Maybe it shines brighter now than it did then to me, but maybe it's also because I was a child and now I'm not. So in any case, give it a try. Give news radio a try. Give Frasier a try. Probably more worth watching than Billy and Mandy First Marriage.
Billy. Well, could you imagine if Billy and Mandy got married?
Are they sisters? Or something? Or brother and sister? I don't remember
they're
that
just
show.
neighborhood friends who wanted to bring their gerbil back to life, and then I think they beat the Grim Reaper in Limbo or something.
Okay.
Got a hazy memory. I thought that Frasier was British, so, what can I remember today? But I took a lot of notes on this episode, thankfully. So since we only have to focus on one thing here, I wanted to get a lot of notes in on it. But do you guys have any other thoughts on this opening scene of them watching Frasier and defending the use of the laugh track?
Yeah, I liked the response from Mandy's mom here is that she prefers like the good shows where you can just laugh whenever you want, whenever the show's actually funny. And I thought she was right. I thought she was based there. But then the whole rest of the episode portrays her as like the most like horrible, unlikable person in the whole world.
Yeah,
So
she's a bitch who hates Georgie, and Georgie is supposed to be the audience's greatest hero. Like, we're watching this because, 7 seasons of Georgie on Young Sheldon, and he grew into being our true main character. Towards the end of Young Sheldon hardly shows up. Like, it's very much the Georgie and Mandy show for like 2 full fucking seasons. So...
Well, I guess I missed all that. I've only seen like whatever amount of the first couple seasons we watched here, and it was.
But I think
it was not a highlight.
It is fitting. A show that's about Sheldon has no laugh track because it's for true intellectuals like us, and we relate to Sheldon, and we're really smart. And now his dumb brother, who a little bit more redneck, a little bit more country traditional boy. Of course, his show would have a laugh track because maybe it's not for the Sheldons of the audience. It's for the people who started watching Young Sheldon for Georgie, if you know what I'm saying.
All right, but how does that square with the Big Bang Theory, where there's 5 intellectuals or however many, and they're all?
Well, it's a decay. It's an intellectual decay of the fan base. Because this show we watched today is not what I would call Reddit. Big Bang Theory, that show's fucking Reddit as hell. Every frame. This is something that 50-year-old mom and dad are going to be watching on Thursday nights.
That's
But I guess Big Bang Theory appealed to them as well. But they're decaying the intellectual Reddit fan base, which maybe is a good thing.
That's terrible. I think it's tragic.
Yeah, if I was going to tier list these shows, I already got it figured out. S tier is obviously Malcolm in the Middle. Young Sheldon gets A tier. B tier goes to this show, actually. Then Big Bang Theory is C tier. So, fuck Big Bang Theory.
I like the characters of Big Bang Theory more than I like the characters of this show. Like Leonard's literally me.
Yeah, absolutely.
The scene here where Georgie hugs his father-in-law and says, "Oh, you remind me of my dad. I didn't hug him enough when I had the chance." I got more emotional resonance out of that brief interaction than the entire season of Big Bang Theory that I watched. So I think this has better characters. I don't know.
I hated like every moment like that where it just felt like, oh yeah, this, like, look, this is our character. We know it's a stand-in for the character you liked from the other show. So just like it
It's
here
not
as
really,
well. They do that with their Sheldon.
I wouldn't say it's a stand-in. I would say, I mean, you haven't seen the end of Young Sheldon, so you don't know this big tragic arc of George's death. And
well, I do intend to keep watching, so
Yeah.
if you could keep spoilers out, maybe.
well, I mean, it's what I don't know what to tell you. I mean, episode 1 of Young Sheldon kind of, we see George dying in the hospital, so it kind of is hinted at from the very beginning. But, George Jr., Georgie here, does not really have enough time to grieve or process his death in Young Sheldon, because they're more focused on, okay, it's the finale, we got to get everybody to where they got to go. So if we're going to have like a grieving Georgie here, and he has to deal with the death of his father when he's still a teenage boy, that's more interesting than anything fucking Leonard has going on, right?
I don't know. Leonard has an interesting dynamic with his mother later in the series.
Yeah, but this is
He's only,
episode
like, 4
1.
episodes.
Like, I'm comparing one episode to a whole season, and this show is winning.
Well, the Big Bang Theory didn't have the luxury of having this like pre-built character crafted by like better writers than I assume the ones on this show. So
Yeah.
I'm fairly certain that the writers are the same, right? We had the same, or at least the showrunner, I think is
Chuck Lorre?
is his name.
Did he have
Yeah.
a Lorre card on this episode?
oh, you know what? I was so wrapped up I didn't even check, but I'm gonna go back.
Wow,
and I'm
I
gonna
should
check
not
it
have
right
reminded
now.
him. God damn it. We were
Anyway,
almost free.
I want to give a little perspective here. First off, so if we're comparing Big Bang Theory to Georgie and Mandy's first marriage, obviously, the whole universe was in a hot decision. I mean, it's a real earworm there that you remember 20 years later, except for the words, but I remember how it sounds. The intro here, I don't know if this is a first episode kind of thing. It was a little bizarre, I'm not going to lie.
I think
They're
it'll
like
be in every
ballroom
episode.
dancing. They're like ballroom dancing, like over the living room set. I think, you pair that kind of perspective, you pair this fourth wall laugh track thing. Maybe we are getting some actual kind of high IQ subversions of the sitcom trope, because this is the same characters that were cast in Young Sheldon. It's not like we're getting some kind of, new cast. We're taking the characters that were filmed in a certain way, the cinematography in Young Sheldon was in a certain way, the direction was in a certain way, and now we're taking those characters that were in a arguably higher IQ program, and we're putting them into, quote unquote schlock of the sitcom trope. It's just what you would expect from a sitcom. It's got the sets, it's got what you'd expect, right? So maybe they're going to keep playing at that. Maybe they're going to keep on doing things in a sitcom setting that aren't necessarily typical. I mean, there wasn't a lot of that, I don't think, in this first episode, but there were some things that were kind of poking, like maybe this is going to be a little different than what you might be expecting overall.
I just think the problem with including the laugh track is that it gives the writers a lot of crutches, and suddenly, I'd say a good, 80 to 90 seconds of the material is just the actors waiting for the audience to stop laughing or clapping or whatever they're doing. So the scripts don't have to be as long, and the jokes don't have to be as tight, because you could just throw in lazy, stereotypical sitcom jokes left and right, sprinkle them in, just to waste an extra 10 seconds, because then the audience is going to laugh at it. And retards at home will just assume it's funny because the audience was laughing. So I think doing it in this format, while they can subvert our expectations with some more dramatic scenes, it's going to spoil the entire show for me.
That's fair, yeah.
Yeah. You bring up the runtime difference, though, and I did check this, actually. I don't think it makes much of a difference, because Young Sheldon's episodes were at least like 2 or 3 minutes shorter than this one. We're back up to 21 minutes.
Okay. Well, so, that just proves more of Young Sheldon's superiority. It's tighter and it's funnier.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, it's like
true.
wasting less of my time on this earth.
Yeah.
They're also like regressing visually just by being a live audience sitcom thing. With Young Sheldon, you had so many interesting shots and different ways you can convey a story, but this is a set angle, that perspective sitcom.
Yeah, I mean, Georgie is like house in this. It's so small, you can't even like. They can't even fit the camera in it or whatever.
Well,
They're not going to try.
That's just a one episode
angle.
joke. Like the plot of the episode is that they're living with Mandy's parents, but Mandy's mom's a bitch and doesn't like Georgie and is talking shit. So they say, fuck it, we're moving out. They move into like a 500 square foot trailer where like the entire thing is just in one room. And yeah, like the camera can't have multiple positions because it's so tiny of a set. And they do spend a lot of the episode there, but then at the end they do move back in. So I think that was just a pilot episode plot.
I could have sworn in some of the promo stuff that I saw Georgie like working on an awning or something, and I just assumed that was their house, so they would go back to over and over.
We do get a cameo from Mima and young Sheldon's mom Mary and like the whole point of it, like it's only 1 minute, and it's just to explain why they can't move in with Mary. Like you would think like her husband just died, young Sheldon moved out. Like, it's just her and the sister now. Like, that's going to be a lonely woman. It'd probably be nice to have, like, a newborn baby in the house and, like, you know, a growing, thriving family to keep her thoughts off of death and doom and loneliness. But it turns out that Mandy just does not like her. And in the scene, Meemaw keeps saying, they'd rather live here than live with you.
Yeah, even as the train's going by and it's shaking their whole house
Yes.
and its foundation and stuff. Like, that was my favorite bit, and it came from once again Annie Potts, who's still the best actor in either of these shows.
It seems idiotic to me. Like, wouldn't it have been a better show if it was a continuation of Young Sheldon, but they have to give it a new title because Young Sheldon moved out? But like they're raising the family with Mima as the neighbor and with Mary and in Young Sheldon's house. With no laugh track? Why is that not the show?
That's true. And I mean, even from episode 1, like Mima and, Mima wasn't in the first one, right? But like Mary and all of like young Sheldon's supporting cast, they were already so much more interesting than any of like Mandy's family here. Like all of those characters are just like a big waste.
Yeah. I don't know. Eggy, you have any other thoughts on this before we move on?
Well, probably not. I'm not gonna lie. What was it? It was probably like 3 minutes into the episode. Emily Osment steps out. She's wearing boxer briefs and then she's yachted up. I'm like, yeah, whatever happens, I'm gonna give this show at least 3 episodes because like I was watching it VOD, on YouTube TV. So it was in like 4K resolution, full screen, and that thing was caking. And I'm like, hey, you know what? I ain't trying to be a sicko gooner or whatever, but I stood up and started applauding. I was like, I don't even care what else happens.
Well, that is the perfect transition to what I wanted to bring up next, is that they have a baby monitor that they're always using to listen to the baby, but sometimes people in the living room are just spying on people in the bedroom. And what is it? Mandy admits that getting pissed off turns her on. And Georgie says, oh, that's some valuable information. And then they start making out and fucking in the bed. And then the next morning at breakfast, the mom's like, yeah, I listened to everything you said about me through the baby monitor and I never turned it off. Like, oh, wow. That's literally in the show. The mom listened to them fuck. Like, she straight up looks her in the eyes and says, I did not turn it off.
Well, the dad comes in briefly before the end of that scene where they're making out and stuff and hands them the baby monitor, and that's when you get the sting of like, oh yeah, they were hearing this conversation, but she did not listen to them have fuck or anything.
You ruined it. Now I'm not going to watch the next 3 episodes with Eggy. I was hoping there was an incestual angle to the story.
Maybe it could still be there.
If the season 1 fucking finale is Georgie knocks up Mandy's mom, this is the greatest show ever made. Like a deplorable, disgusting like drama that they put a laugh track on. Wouldn't that be amazing?
It would be actually, you know. I don't think they're brave enough,
No,
unfortunately.
they're cowards. Eggy, I'm sorry I cut you off for that lame interjection, but
That's good. Building off what you said, yeah, she's, you know, because that was, I think Mandy says like how much like her family's pissing her off or whatever. They're having this dynamic. That's what I think her mother overheard in the kitchen. That's why I said, oh, I left it on so I could overhear the hot tea. But basically, more or less, besides for the trailer that they live in for, you know, 10% of the episode that's on train tracks and keeps shaking with all the loud train noises. The other part is that their daughter is however old, under a year, and she's not talking yet. So Mandy's mother says, oh, that stupid hick, dumb redneck that done knocked you up and ruined your life. His stupid, dumb brain genetics can't even make a kid that talks right. Oh my goodness, his family's ruined. So it'd be funny if like within the 5 minutes of the season finale, she's like, now listen, maybe brains ain't so dumb after all. Maybe we should see what happens when you mix it with what I got going on, and maybe we'll make a really smart kid. And
yeah,
Okay,
and the mom even uses that line of he ruined her life, and the dad clarifies something that I think I need to clarify for Purple here, but I might have the ages wrong, but I'm pretty sure Georgie was 17 and Mandy was 29 at the time of insummation or whatever that shit's called, so I don't know if it's really his fault that much. I mean, he probably lied about his age for a bit, but still, let's even out the blame a little bit.
Okay, that's sort of. I kept hearing that, like, yeah, he married someone much older. Just watching this one, I assumed that she was like around his age. But is she 29 with no job, living with her parents in this?
Proof that a 30-year-old woman can still have that cake. Am I right, Aggie?
I gotta say, I mean, to be honest, you know, I've followed Miss Osmond for some years. You know, she's exactly the same age as I am, as a matter of fact.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah, she looks. She's always looked good, and she looks good now.
So
and
this show is kind of like if she was dating Hartsy.
What the fuck?
Because Hartsy's 19, and that's how old Georgie is.
That would be me if I saw her for real.
Whoa, jeez.
Oh my god.
No, this show actually breaks established Big Bang Theory canon. Okay,
Let's hear it.
Okay, so when Georgie is introduced in Big Bang Theory, it's an established plotline that Georgie despises Sheldon and resents him because he left his life after the father died and left him to stick around to take care of the family. So he explains that he stuck around to take care of Mom, Missy, and Mima while Sheldon was gone. But in this show, it explains that he moved away and doesn't have much contact with them at this period. What the hell?
Yeah, and it's all waved away with, oh, sorry, Mandy doesn't like Mary. So fucking bullshit. Like it kind of makes the character unredeemable. Like he's crying in the arms of Mandy's dad. Oh, I miss my dad. I miss my dad. Your mom is a fucking widow, dude. Like, what? You should go be with her. What are you doing? Go hug her. Who is she supposed to fucking hug?
So
He's waiting for her to die so then he can go hug somebody else's mom and be like, I didn't hug my mom while I had the chance. Like, what are you doing, dude? You didn't learn your lesson, evidently.
That's true.
Hey, listen, a man just can't go be hugging on any woman. You know what I'm saying? It's something that it's gotta be the right place at the right time. The others might be some kind of hippie or something, you know.
I know Hartsy used to wear a free hugs t-shirt to school. Did you score any hot chicks that day?
No, I've never worn something like that.
There used to be kids like that. That used to be a thing.
Wearing free hug sweatshirts?
Yeah, like fucking middle school fucking weirdos.
Oh, wow.
In middle
instead
school?
I wore
Yes.
my negative XP hoodie
Jesus.
in middle school.
Yeah, in middle school, recess, I was busy tabletopping other people. They were getting free hugs.
Oh.
Yeah.
What is tabletop?
Me and Biggs or sometimes we would do this too. Biggs would go up to a third friend, and I would have to sneak up behind him on all fours, like, you know, to form a table. And then somebody pushes him, and then he trips over me and falls on the floor. That's what we would do at recess in middle school.
Okay, do you think the free hugs trick would work on a college level, perchance?
It would with you because you look like a cute teddy bear.
Aw, okay. Thanks.
It's more of an insult, but I'm glad you liked it.
Oh wow. Okay. Oh no.
Yeah.
I would say when I was in college, I think at least freshmen and maybe in extenuating circumstances, sophomores in college, I did see them. They were usually the ones that would be in the anime club before people liked anime. Now they like it. They didn't like it back then. They would still wear a Free Hugs t-shirt, and this was before the government invented more genders, so the only other option was fat, stinking women that were missing teeth. And you know what? Sometimes they'd get those hugs, and then they would talk about how they were fujoshis, and don't look into that. Anyhow, that's how it was in 2010.
Should we move on to something that delights me?
Sure.
Yeah.
So there's a character we have all forgotten to mention who is the new Sheldon of the show. This is the autistic adult son, Connor, who lives also with Mandy's parents. And we don't see much of him. But he comes out, he's all formal, like shaking Georgie's hand at the breakfast table. And Georgie's like, dude, I'm family, I live here, what are you doing? So then instead he goes in for the hug. So he's severely autistic, but not the Sheldon type who's afraid to touch people. He'll be touchy-feely. And he's also, instead of being like a physics or physicist or whatever the fuck, this science stupid shit, he is into experimental music. And what does he say? He's making a song that's in 7/4 time that will be impossible to dance to. Aggie, do you think you could accept this challenge?
I mean, yeah, I could immediately catch the beat. There's definitely songs out there that have that time signature. So, yeah, I mean, it's absolutely, completely possible to dance to. Yeah, you might have to catch a different rhythm, but, you know, if you can catch one rhythm, after a while, you can catch them all.
And later on in the episode, we get to hear a sample of his music. And I don't know about you guys, but to me, it reminded me of like video game music in the early aughts, specifically from the game Stretch Panic. Like it sounded like that. And I think this takes place in the mid 90s. So maybe he's some sort of musical genius slightly ahead of his time. I don't know. Would this type of music have been anywhere else in this time period?
I have no idea, but see, I pretty much only listen to experimental music. I don't listen to no normie fucking garbage. I listen to high quality niche shit like Blade and 100 Gex. In fact, when the show premiered, I was at a Blade concert.
Sorry, I was late with the clap on that one.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
But yeah, when this episode came out, I was actually at a Blade concert, which was the second best day of my life. Yeah, and that's why I had to watch this today, because I just came back yesterday. Wait, late the day before.
Let's turn this into the Weekend Warrior soundboard hour.
It's like he's always with us, really, whenever we pull out the soundboard.
Okay, we've got caked up Mandy going to talk to her mom about some of her attitude. And the mom, you guys say that these characters aren't interesting and you don't like them, but the mom won me over. She's my top tier power ranking character right now. Because she says, just sending the U.S. government more of our hard-earned money just to piss away. You know what? Give me that golf clap. Is that not character of the show? Speaking truth to power.
I was saying piss away implies that they're not spending the money well, which I believe they are.
Maybe back in the 90s, but, you know.
They were doing the Gulf War and stuff. I don't think you'd be any happier with it back then.
I mean, Hartsy couldn't be happier now. He loves what they're doing with it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I was talking to you.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, Hartsy's goal is pretty much complete Muslim eradication from the planet Earth by any means necessary. He doesn't even care for Israel. He just wants to get rid of those Muslims.
What the Sigma?
It doesn't sound like a disagreeing take to me.
Man.
Poor Hartsy.
Anyhow, homeboy Connor, the musical genius, he's got soundtrack credits for a show called Disjointed, an episode called Prom Night, which is apparently available to watch on Gujara.to, and I'm kind of like tabbing through it here. I don't know, like,
Now,
This is the only
Iggy,
episode in.
Are you telling me this fictional character from Georgie and Mandy has official credits in real life movies?
Real music. Real
What?
music.
What are you talking about? He's not a real person.
He's making real 7-2 music.
Is it like
I needed to see.
Is it the actor, or are you just making shit up?
Okay, I mean, it's the actor, yeah.
Oh,
It's
okay.
the man who portrays Connor, but he's real to me because I don't know him that well, so this is
But
all I
he's
know.
actually a musician in real life. That's kind of interesting. So I wonder if we're going to see Connor perform in later episodes. And by we, I mean not us, because we're not watching this shit anymore. But
Well, I'm tapping through this episode that allegedly has this music playing. Kathy Bates is making jack-off motions outside of a karate dojo.
Yeah, that's
and just
Matlock,
smoking
I
a lot of
think.
weed.
can't wait to watch
guess.
Matlock.
That must be why it's called Disjointed, is because it's like it takes place at a weed shop, and they're all just like smoking weed in every single scene, like every single person.
So you were not watching an ad for Matlock?
This is what she does in her free time. This is actually not even a show. This is just her being recorded inside of her daily routine.
What if the Bazinga Boys' new direction is we just start reviewing the movies that he made music for? And just like go off in a very weird path, branching off of each thing that we review?
Like 7 degrees of separation, except it's just 1 degree of separation. We're going to start off with Connor's musical performance in a weed show, and then we're going to figure out something about like Kathy Bates and just go from there.
Or like whoever the best boy on the movie was, find another movie he was best boy on. The most obscure connection possible. Anything else from this episode? I think we covered the whole plot, just kind of out of order a little bit, but...
Well, one of my favorite elements here was when he went to his job, Georgie's job, where it's like he's at like a gas station doing like work on cars and stuff, and there's the character who gets like one scene, and the joke is that he's just very, very upset that he's not like in the position that Georgie has, because Georgie's like ordering him around and stuff, and he's there working on the cars. He's there with the bolt screwer or whatever it is.
Would you say this man is racially ambiguous, or would you say he's Mexican?
I'd say he's Mexican.
I would say racially ambiguous for the sake of like, if someone like asked the writers or whatever, but I think that's clearly what they're going for.
I think he'll have a full character. We're just getting a little taste in the pilot, but eventually we will go to his house. We'll see his daughter's fucking quinceañera and all that shit. Gonna get really into the Mexican culture. Right now, it's kind of a subversion of the Mexican guy's been working here for 9 years. Maybe not even a subversion. Maybe this just happens every fucking day. And then like the boss's nepotistic, hire of a son-in-law gets authority over him, even though he's brand new to the job and a literal child. So this has more to say than any of us are giving credit for. It's a reflection on the dark, fucked up society we live in, and it's just not fair for the minorities.
No, it
True.
is not. Speaking as a minority myself, it is not.
How many times have you been passed up for a promotion because the boss's son got hired?
Too many times to count on both of my hands.
That's why you only get a job for somebody who has no family. And if they have family, you have to kill them before you accept the offer.
That reminds me of a thing I watched recently. It was called Burns' Heir, episode of The Simpsons. And guess what? Mr. Burns didn't have any family, and Bart Simpson was accepted to receive trillions of dollars. Of course, he went against it because Mr. Burns was going to try to take him to Epstein Island. They didn't say that in the show, but Matt Groening, he's all too familiar.
He was doing research for the episode. That's why he was on the Express. At the very end of the episode, they're like, "Oh, you think our daughter Cece is stupid?" And then Cece says, "Dada." So that proves that she's smart because she's 10 months old and she said "Dada." And the final line is, Georgie says, "Genius runs in my family." So like just the crutch of young Sheldon lingers on even at the very end of the episode.
He casts a long shadow over this whole franchise.
I looked it up. I got some bad news. According to Deadline, Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage is picking up where predecessors left off as the most watched program on broadcast Thursday night. with 6.56 million total live viewers.
Holy shit.
Most watched
Jesus.
TV episode of the night.
6 million? That doesn't seem right.
Does that seem too high or too low?
It seems too high, man.
Wow. I mean, maybe I am old. I remember when shows would get like, what, 15 million viewers?
Well, there's a lot more competition now, right?
Yeah, but when Georgie and Mandy are having a first marriage, everybody should drop what they're doing.
I don't know if it's worth it. I don't know.
It won the night. I mean, it did better than fucking, Big Brother? Whatever else was on.
I guess so, but I don't know. What else? What else even is on? Is it just reality shows and stuff? Are there like competing sitcoms out there that are any good?
Was the fucking Vikes got smoked by the fucking Lions. Actually, was that Sunday night? Oh, actually, yeah, never mind. I didn't watch it until last night, so my days were out of whack. My bad.
Did you guys see this? There's actually another Big Bang Theory spinoff in the works starring the character of Stewart from the Big Bang Theory.
Who the fuck is Stewart?
Stewart is another weird nerdy guy who's introduced much later in the show, far later than anything we've seen on this show.
He runs the comic book store.
Yeah, he's
that we
a
don't get to
comic
see.
book guy.
I'm sure it'll be just as riveting at this.
Is he a beloved character that can handle his own franchise?
I like Stewart a lot. I don't know if he can fucking handle his own series.
I don't remember anything about him, and I've seen like all these episodes. I just remember he like burned down his store as an insurance scam or something.
No, we didn't burn it down on purpose. It got burned down, and there's a whole arc of him suffering because of it.
Yeah, he held a shotgun up to Tony Soprano because he thought he did it.
I almost was sold on watching this show when you said he was committing insurance fraud. He almost sounded like a character I did want to watch, but if he's not doing that, I don't know. Better have Emily Osment walking around in panties, otherwise I might not watch.
Nope, not until the end of Young Sheldon. What is Ian Armitage, the actor who plays Young Sheldon, what is he doing now? Is he just going to retire for life?
I have no idea. I haven't been keeping up with any of these actors.
I imagine his net worth has to be over $2 million, in which case, just fucking move to the Midwest and don't work again in your whole life, buddy. But maybe it's more than $2 million. I mean, he was the star of Young Sheldon.
Huh.
He might have been making $1 million per episode by the end.
In the 2020 film Scoob, he played young Shaggy, apparently.
Wow, typecast as young.
Yeah, young blank. He was also young Brian Wells in The Glass Castle, so yeah, that's just what he does, I guess.
What happens when he becomes old?
He'll still be young. They'll just have to cast him as like, the young version of a way older guy.
Wow.
He's been
He'll be 80
podcasting for 12 years.
He's a podcaster.
What?
He's been podcasting since he was 4. Wow.
Should we get him on our show?
Perhaps. Do you think he'd come on?
No.
That'd be good, though. We have the original Bazinga Boy. I guess not the original, but a
only one
real
that matters.
Bazinga Boy on the Bazinga Boys. It would be pretty good.
We might need him. It says here that he can speak both Russian and Ukrainian. Maybe he's the all-in-one package that the show's been needing ever since a certain person decided to not be here.
He could single-handedly end the war, like he's the bridge.
Yeah, he should be doing negotiations or something. Not playing fucking young Shaggy.
Every other negotiation was ruined because the translator was lying, and he's the only person on the planet who can talk to them both at the same time. You know what? Let's do it. That Young Sheldon, Season 8, World Peace. Has anybody used that title before?
I don't think so.
Oh my god, he plays Chase, the police dog in the Paw Patrol
I don't
movie.
think so.
Well, I guess we have to review that next.
We could.
Sure, of course.
There was a demand for us to review Paw Patrol the movie with Kino Corner, but he won't even come on for real movies anymore, so...
Nah.
He's too busy grinding. I've been seeing him on Twitter. He's talking about how he's
grinding
he's
through
getting on that grind.
Bumble, Tinder, Hinge. Lots of grinding going away. Lots of swiping.
Yeah, that's hard work.
We've all been there. Hartsy, what is your final Grinder update of the series?
I decided that I no longer want to partake in the Grinder activity, so I deleted it from my phone.
You know, that's the arc I was hoping a certain someone else might have had by the end, but I'm glad someone got there.
No. I'm never deleting it, okay? I don't go on it that much, but I gotta pull it out every now
What
and
if you
again.
find true love? You're just gonna keep Grindr on your phone when you're married?
You know, that's another story, right?
You said never.
I'm not hopeful. Well, you know, I'm a realist, okay?
I'm
At the
also
end of the
like
day.
not gay, so I don't use Grindr.
When are you gonna watch Back to the Future Part 3?
When I feel like it.
So never?
Maybe.
That
probably.
cliffhanger in part 2 wasn't like, oh, I got it. I think they ruined it by showing a full trailer for number 3 in the movie for number 2. It kind of pops the balloon of tension of that great ending where, you know, Doc is celebrating his victory and then Marty comes around the corner. Like, it should have just been smash cut to credits after that.
Yeah, like the Sopranos ending. It's just cut to black and no explanation as to what happens.
Yeah, what if after Tony gets whacked, then they have like a 90-second trailer built into the episode for like the sequel?
Sopranos 2 Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah, see what AJ is up to? What snacks he's feasting on?
Hey, listen, you know, so Back to the Future Part 2, that was 35 years ago. The audiences weren't ready for that 35 years ago. You know, Sopranos, they were ready. Back to the Future 2, they weren't. They was still reeling from the effects of leaded gasoline and lead paint. They'd seen it like all of a sudden smash cut to black. They would have been like, hey, the movie's broken. What's going on? Nobody told me what's about to happen. Oh, this shit sucks. Don't see it.
I just saw that they're doing a theatrical re-release for the 35th anniversary of Back to the Future 2. I think it's pretty cool.
It is my
They keep
favorite
doing
movie.
that.
I might have to go see that in theaters, but I've already seen the whole trilogy in theaters, so I don't know if it's worth going again.
Oh, for real? Cool.
Yeah, well, in 2015, they played all 3 movies back to back
Wow.
on Back to the Future Day. Like, I think October... Is it today? October 21st? Is that Back to the Future Day?
It might be.
Could it
yeah.
be today? Well, as we're recording this, I mean, but... what year
It
does
is,
Georgie and Mandy
actually.
take place in? Are they already past 1985? Because I have to imagine Back to the Future will be referenced in this show.
I want to say it said 1991.
Oh, that's right. We're way past that. So never mind.
Yeah.
I forgot Young
Hey, now,
Sheldon
Jimmy.
started at the late 80s.
Yeah, like 88 or 89
Yeah.
somewhere.
What's that, Aggie?
Jimmy, I don't mean to cause you any concern,
Uh-oh.
but I just happened to take a peek here, and I happened to see a 7 p.m. showtime for Back to the Future Part 2 35th anniversary showing at a particularly nearby theater.
Should we go tonight? I mean, I also could just watch it at home for free.
That's true. We
Yeah.
also have The Nightmare Before Christmas in 3D, and some non-rated Indian movie with English subtitles. It's 3 hours long and starts at 9:25 p.m.
My concern about future movies, Aggie, is that I thought I was almost done with the Medea series. And I already knew that Medea's Destination Wedding was yet to be released on Netflix, so I'm kind of waiting for that one to see the release date. But I just found out this morning there's not one new Medea movie coming. There's 2.
Really?
There's an Uncle Joe road trip spin-off movie also coming to Netflix that was filmed at the same time as Destination Wedding. So just when I think that I'm out, Aggie, what do? They pull me back
Well,
in.
It's a good thing you mentioned it was filmed at that same time, because I would have thought maybe the road trip film was inspired by another very recent and very successful road trip film that also released, I think, on September or October. Was it September 27th?
Oh,
Man, that
Alvin
was
and the
a long time
Chipmunks,
ago
the
already.
road trip?
That's right. I think it was Alvin and Harper, the road chip. You know, that would have been some real Kino, but it is what it is.
Yeah. It's not too late for us to review that. Hartsy, do you want to review Will and Harper?
What is that?
It's Will Ferrell. It's a documentary. Will Ferrell goes on a road trip with his trans 90-year-old friend.
Oh, wow. That seems pretty interesting. Yeah, I could watch
They say
that.
it's stunning, brave, bold, beautiful. Lots of
Well, if
B's.
it's not just like that, I imagine that. Yeah, I could watch that.
B-cup titties.
Awooga.
That's what I'm thinking. Guys, that's the end of the Bazinga Boys. We did not go out with a big bang. but with a little Sheldon, little whimper. Are you guys going to continue watching this show in your free time? Because I think I might.
Absolutely not.
Probably not, no.
The only way I'm actually going to watch this is if homeboy Jimmy's watching it, because my free trial of YouTube TV ended today, and I'm not going to, or unless one of my favorite websites that happens to sometimes have free TV on it starts putting it up, because otherwise I don't know how I'm going to watch it. So, but
it's also on Prime Video. It's on Prime Video.
The new episodes.
Actually, I did accidentally.
Yeah, apparently.
I did accidentally give myself another month of Amazon Prime starting yesterday, so maybe I'll be able to watch it there.
Purple, would you like to plug the Purple Surplus channel?
No, in fact, I would like to read the final Chuck Lorre card.
Fuck.
You made me pull it up earlier. We gotta read it, and I think it's poignant. Actually, I think it might be a good send off here. It reads as follows. As I'm sure you know, network television has been undergoing seismic changes. Audiences have so many more choices than ever before, which I believe is a good thing. The only difficulty is it's hard to measure what constitutes success. In the past, if you enjoyed tonight's premiere episode of Georgie and Mandy's first marriage, I'd ask you to spread the word, get some word of mouth going. That's no longer necessary. Now all I need is an algorithm or bot or some sort of silicon-based magical genie to secure the future of the show. Hey Siri.
That's it?
Oh.
Yeah.
It ends with a
Yes, and I'm not sure why. I don't know what bit he was going for there.
That's awful.
That's
kind of how
Chuck
this
Lorre
podcast
cards.
has been ending. Like, wait, what the fuck happened at the end there? They kind of just lost it.
Siri, shut the fuck up! I'm doing a food review, dude. I'm doing my final title card, dude.
Oh,
dude, Siri, shut up.
Now, do you guys want to plug anything?
I'll plug my Purple Surplus. We've been doing.
Did he die?
I think so.
Basically this show, but with what? Oh no.
No, I can hear you again.
Okay,
Go ahead.
am I back? Hello? Okay. I've been doing more, basically just, movie review podcasts and stuff. We did a great episode on Megalopolis with E-Rich. We did Joker and Joker Part 2, double feature, sorta. Except, they're separate episodes. And that's where you can find the Joker 2 debate. That's where you can find all sorts of great film-based content.
They reviewed Joe's apartment, but I'm not going to tell you where. It's a sneak peek. It's a hidden egg.
In there. It's a secret.
Yeah, it's in there. Easter egg. What about you, Hartsy? What's coming out on the Hartsy Protsy YouTube channel?
I have nothing to plug as of recently or anytime soon, so there's nothing there.
No YouTube videos, no grinder, no more concert to look forward to, no more Young Sheldon.
I guess you can follow me on Twitter at HartsyProtsy.
What about you, Aggie? Where the fuck is this food video, Aggie? Makes me film a great food video, refuses to post it. He's ashamed of my camera work, I think.
No, I haven't been editing at full speed. Yesterday I was talking with some Indians, figuring out about this way I could make money by it's this thing called Golem, where you let Indians rent your CPU so they can mine Bitcoin or something, or it's somehow you can transfer CPU power to some server and let people use it. So I was giving that a try yesterday.
What?
You can make passive income.
Aggie, don't let the Indians on your computer. I've watched enough Kit Boga to know that.
This is fact checked by experts.
How about this? Purple Colonel, he's a video editing slave with nothing else to do. Maybe you send it to him, let him edit you'll have it done today. Right, Purple?
You know what? I would be honored, yeah.
Do you want an editing slave, Aggie?
I mean, I guess to be honest, it could be a fresh perspective based comparatively to what I'm used to doing. So, I mean, I guess I could drop the files at him and see if he would get to it before me. Then I'd be happy to promote his editing abilities to my large and thriving audience. And in fact, I'd even pay him whatever his market rate is because it's only fair.
You said you'll pay him double what Florian paid just to prove you're a better man?
Well, I think if you're ready to do it,
Don't do it. If you're trying to sell your CPU to Indians, you can't afford fucking pay an editor. What are you doing?
it's a cloud-based renting thing, and it's fact-checked by experts. It's not some off-the-side-of-the-road kind of thing. I just figured I have a $3,000 computer that just sits around most of the time, and maybe I could contemplate beyond live streaming what it could be used for revenually speaking. So especially if I'm going to New York City, I can just leave it on and running and generating multiple dollars a day while I'm gone.
Okay, did I miss anybody's plugs? Did everybody get them in?
I think we got him.
Yepper.
Well, let's sign off for the final time from the Bazinga Boys until Purple brings it back with Florian next week on Anti-Reviews. I've been me.
And I've been Purple Colonel.
And I've been Bazingi Prodsy.
And I have been laying on the floor watching Emily Osment thunder around in boxer shorts.
Should I edit a laugh track throughout this whole podcast to see if it makes it any funnier?
You should.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Wait, so if I send the MP3 of this to Purple, he will do that for free, is what I'm hearing?
Maybe I might have to draw him in there. Maybe.
Might be busy editing Aggie's food video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
Running on empty food review.